The purpose of licensing is public safety and consumer protection. If you deal with a licensed individual, you know that they have passed a background check, that they're not criminals.
After deadly attacks on the United Healthcare CEO and local lawmakers, a Minnesota state agency is sounding the alarm, warning of unlicensed private security. The message is to be careful who you hire. And
Fox 9 investigator Paul Bloom tells us tonight there is a history of individuals and security companies trying to take advantage of fear and anxiety to make a quick buck.
This is a story we just pushed out to your phones via the Fox Local app. It has significant impacts on individuals as well as companies who may be ramping up personal security protections after the high-profile assassinations of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, as well as DFL House Leader Melissa Hortman and her husband inside their Brooklyn Park home. Three quick headlines to get to. The Minnesota Board of Private Detectives and Protective Agent Services issuing an advisory encouraging the use of licensed private security firms. The deadly attacks that have been all over the news have no doubt led to heightened interest in what is known as dignitary protection or paid private security. Officials telling the Fox 9 investigators that unlicensed security personnel took advantage of vulnerabilities during the 2020 riots. Here's what they're saying.
Most security officers are not armed, but some are. And for them to be carrying firearms without proper training and vetting, we don't like to tell horror stories of the bad thing that happened. Our goal is to prevent the horror stories and the bad things from ever happening in the first place. That's why we do the licensing.
That is Board Chair Rick Hodsden. His agency oversees Minnesota's private security industry. He explained that a licensed firm and its employees must pass criminal history background checks, have basic training, and carry the required levels of liability insurance and bonds. It is a gross misdemeanor offense that could cost an individual up to a year in jail if they try to do this work without a license. Hodgson added that properly licensed firms will issue credentials to all employees who are then required to display the ID card on demand when they are at work.
If you deal with a licensed individual, you know that they have passed a background check, that they're not criminals. You know that they are insured, that they've had basic training, and if the license holders themselves, you know they've had literally years of experience in the industry.
And then in the backstory, you can read about the 2020 riots and more than a dozen unlicensed companies that were identified as providing security during the unrest. Some were advertising on Craigslist and Facebook and openly admitted they were unlicensed, but came to Minnesota to assist, recognizing the demand at the time. Clearly, the private security licensing agency not wanting a repeat of that wild, Wild West atmosphere of 5 years ago, now wanting to get out in front as individuals as well as companies take a closer look at personal safety. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.